Hello, welcome to D&D in a Castle's DM Deep Dive. I'm Tara, this is Jasper. We're here actually at D&D in a Castle. We are in a castle, we're at D&D in a Castle. D&D in a Castle is happening right now. There are people
literally
in this castle right now
playing D&D
in their campaigns. Jasper is on a short break, and so we've caught him to come and tell us a little bit about his campaigns, about his dungeon mastering, and about his participation in D&D in a Castle. So, Jasper, welcome first of all to D&D in a Castle.
Much. This very excited to be here. This is my. Did we work out sixth?
Something like that.
I think sixth castle.
Could be.
Because I'm pretty sure last time I was here,
it
was the fifth. So
we're at number
that's
6
how math
works. Can we count? Very good. So we're here at D&D in a Castle in England, where you live and work. And
this is one of the best events for me because this is the one event where I don't have to get on a plane to go somewhere else. I get to just drive for a little bit and then I'm here. Look at this.
Amazing. So we're in day 2, or gaming day 2 of D&D in a Castle. So sort of 2/3 of the way into your current campaign.
Yes.
So tell us what you're doing right now.
Oh boy, what are we doing right now? So anyone who knows me or has ever listened, watched, consumed any of my D&D stuff, they'll know that I am a pretty chaotic GM. And by chaotic, I mean that I really like to lean into what my players really want, what they are excited about. And so there's been a couple of instances whereby we have, we've lent into some rather interesting and crazy moments. And so we are a little bit further along than I thought we would be. We are basically in the middle of forming an alliance with a particularly well-known vampire called Strahd.
Okay.
The players have decided it's a good idea to partner up with him and to use the skills and gifts that he can give them in order to hopefully defeat the big bad. Because Strahd in my game isn't the big bad, just sort of a minor big bad, if you will. So the enemy of the enemy kind of thing.
And so your campaigns usually at D&D in a Castle are all homebrew or primarily stuff that you've custom made for your players at the castle. And in your past campaigns, are they always in the same world, or do you tend to move around?
No, it tends to skip around quite a lot. It tends to be whatever I'm in the middle of sort of working on. Well, to be fair, I always give the players a choice of sort of classic high fantasy setting, usually in a steampunk setting, and then a sort of, this is what I'm working on currently. And I think that because a lot of the players that come to my table maybe have seen or know of things that I'm currently working on, so they get excited about being a part of that world. And I always invite the players to say, hey, if you enjoy this and you're excited about it, then I'll make the things that happen at the castle canon in that world going forward, which is always exciting for them. So the last few times they've picked that option basically. So we I tend to build everything around the players and what they give me. So if the players I have some players who give me 5 pages of backstory, and so I take that 5 pages of backstory and I build it into the world as closely as I possibly can, and then I use that as a springboard for what kind of adventure do I feel like the players want or are kind of asking for, and I have a little form that I ask them to fill out as well, which sort of one question that I always love to ask is, what's something you've never seen in D&D before? Because I think, you're coming to this amazing event, this epic thing.
Once in a lifetime.
What's like one thing that you've always thought, it'd be so cool if this happened? And so one thing that like often comes up is like, big kind of skyships, that kind of a thing. And so I say, okay, let me see if I can oblige that. Because I also think that there's something that kind of magical for me as well as a GM when I get to see a player's eyes light up and go, oh, whoa, it's this thing, or so I'm always led by the players and what they want and desire, which is nice for me as well, because it means that it's like fresh and exciting, because I do this quite a lot. Probably too much, some would say, but I obviously love it and enjoy it, but it's always nice when it gets to be refreshing and exciting and seeing what players bring to the table. Like one player at my table is essentially playing David Bowie, and it is
Right.
absolutely beautiful and incredible, and I'm having
That's
the
so
best
cool.
time.
That's so fun. And you said that players recently have, chosen the kind of the thing that you're working on at
Mm,
the moment. I know that you and some of your or
mhm,
compatriots or
yeah,
whatever
mhm.
have just brought out a new setting or
Yes, we
the
are
City of the
working.
Black Rose.
Yes,
I
yes, yes,
saw the
yes.
books.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's very cool. Is this campaign connected to that?
This campaign, no, but Jeremy, who's also at the castle, part of Three Black Halflings, is running a Mavros setting. So Mavros, or City of the Black Rose, is a Three Black Halflings original setting. And yeah, we're bringing out our first ever source book. It's a system agnostic source book. It works. We're sort of tailoring it, so it definitely there's lots of helpful hints as to how it could work with D&D 5e, with Daggerheart, other systems, because we love the idea that you could take this setting and apply it to any
Mhm.
TTRPG that you love playing. But no, we're really really excited about it. We're slightly terrified, right? It's the first time that
Of
we
course.
brought out a well, it's honestly one of the first times we brought out any kind of like written materials. But we felt like we've been working in this space for so long, and we one of the reasons that we've started, and I think we've had some success, is that we think that we provide a bit of a unique voice in the
Mm,
space,
mhm.
and so it felt important that we then took that and gave people the tools to then run those games at home, so that they could get the sort of unique blend of the kind of things that we create. And yeah, Jeremy's an absolutely brilliant mind, and we literally just wrapped the season 2 of City of the Black Rose on our like podcast feeds and everything, which was absolutely like a fever dream. But now it was amazing.
Was that the
Um,
first one that you've done in that setting? Like in terms of your
we
actual
done
play?
we done a 4-part series 1, which we kind of always just thought that was going to be a standalone thing, but then people really responded to
Mm,
the setting. It's a very gothic noir, mysteries, detectives, grungy kind of setting, and so it was something that we were so drawn to that we thought, well, maybe let's play around with doing a second campaign. And then we did a second campaign. We then spoke to an amazing company called Roll and Play Press, and it just kind of snowballed from there, really. And we decided to put together our first source book, which is
amazing.
just, yeah, really
Well,
cool.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And also another thing that I know you were doing last time you were at the castle
Mhm,
in the autumn,
mhm.
you were coming straight, and I mean straight, from a live show that Three Black
Right.
Halflings was
Yes.
doing. So you're
Yes.
also branching out into live
Yeah.
performances as well. How
Yeah.
is that going?
Yeah. It's really, really cool. I think that it's one of the things I love about D&D Castle, and one of the things that I love about a lot of things I get to do. Uh, you know, uh, One of the reasons I think that D&D and TTRPGs has had such a big boom is because there's just nothing quite like the in-person experience.
Yeah.
I know for you, you don't get to play at the castle, but you can feel the
Yeah.
energy, that's around the castle when you're playing. And I think that especially after lockdown, when we were all sequestered away
Absolutely.
and unable to, look people in the eye, there really was something. I think a new kind of weight and value has been added to live things, live shows, live events, and it's meant a lot to us to get to do a live show. And we're now looking at doing other live shows. My production company is looking at doing live events as well, purely because I just think there's clearly, I mean, as proven by where we're sat right now and what we're doing, people want that. They really
Yeah.
want to be able to look into another person's eyes. And I think that it's one thing laughing together on a Zoom screen, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think when you're actually sat across from someone, and something kind of magical happens as a
Mhm.
dice roll or whatever it is, and everyone has that really immediate reaction. It's just pure magic. And we kind of caught the bug because we'd gone to see like Dimension 20 and shows like that doing their live shows, and just the energy of the crowd was just a magical. The only problem with our 3BH live shows that we did ask suggestions from the audience, and
That's a
well,
risk.
it is indeed a risk. And so the live show itself definitely was a little interesting.
Yeah.
Not quite the tone or style that we thought, but probably very Three Black Halflings now I think about
Right.
it.
And you mentioned Dimension 20, and
Mm,
you were on a show last year
yes.
with Dimension 20,
Yeah.
Burrow's End.
Yeah.
And how did that come about, and what was that like?
That oh wow, I still kind of pinch myself that actually happened. Basically, a couple of years ago, I sort of made the decision because I'd always wanted to work in LA, and I was lucky enough through like Halflings and other sort of things to meet all these amazing people. And so I had a friend out there who said, "Hey, just come out to LA. You can sleep on my sofa." And just meet some people. And even if I spent a couple £100 basically getting a plane ticket and then lived off cinnamon toast crunch the rest of the time. I'm now slightly addicted to cinnamon toast crunch, by the way. So check out my PO box if you want to send me any. But yeah, I went to LA. It was a real kind of dream come true moment, right? Stepping off the plane at LAX, and then I realized that LAX is a hellscape. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. And went and met some people, and I think it was either that or a subsequent LA trip where I ran a one shot for Abria Iyengar, and it was in a setting called Wakandel. So essentially, the whole thing was, why get sued by one major sort of brand when you could get sued by two? So I smashed Wakanda and Rivendell together, and we did this one shot, which was all about basically like Wakanda, but sort of in a high fantasy setting. And I had this amazing all black cast. And actually, B. Dave Walters, another a frequent of the castle, was in it. And I remember at the end of the game, Abria was crying, and I was like, "I've done it!" Like Abria, like, and
Abria Iyengar cry.
yeah, exactly. And then through various whatever it was, I can't remember, but essentially, I ended up staying with her for a night that week, and we stayed up all night talking and whatever it was. And then Abria said to me at the end of the night before we went to bed, she said, "I'm gonna bring you in on something." Soon, because what you did today was amazing, or what you did this week was amazing. And I was like, oh sure, thinking it was just you're being lovely, you're being very, very nice. And anyway, fast forward a couple of months, I then get a message from Brennan Lee Mulligan saying, "Hey dude, do you have 5 minutes to chat?" And I was like, Brennan Lee Mulligan doesn't have time to chat with anyone. Like, he is the busiest man I've ever met in my life. And so I was a bit like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, I'll clear my schedule. And then, yeah, he called me and said, "Do you want to be in a season of Dimension 20? Told me kind of all about the idea and everything. And then the real fun part about the story is that I got married in April. I went on my honeymoon. I landed from my honeymoon and had 24 hours at home. This has been planned for months. We knew this was happening. 24 hours at home, but during my honeymoon with my beautiful now wife, she was very, very sick. And kept on being sick really early in the morning and didn't really fancy having a drink. And then we kept on saying to ourselves, we're just going to ignore this and pretend like nothing's happening.
Like we don't know what.
Anyway, we had 24 hours at home. My wife tested. I found out that I was going to be a dad. Abria called me literally 2 minutes later to do our session 0 for Burroughs End. I then got on a plane and flew to LA. I remember it was the biggest sort of whirlwind of emotions over the few weeks. You just sort of realizing I was going to be dad, then also realizing that inadvertently the whole storyline that we had created was that Rashawn Scott was playing my wife. She was pregnant at the time. It was a bit of it was a real whirlwind of emotions. Izzy Rowland, Brennan's partner, was also pregnant at the time. It was a very tempestuous time for all of us. There was lots of tears at the table at various points, but it was a really magical and amazing experience, and I feel very grateful for it. It's led to lots of amazing opportunities, and I hope to be back sometime soon.
Yeah. Well, we're very honored to have you come to our castle and run games for our guests. And you're coming back in the autumn this year.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear about what concepts you have to pitch to your players or games you're thinking about running for that. For that event.
Yeah, I know that there's some we're doing some running some modules as well, and I think I might dabble in running a module in the autumn. I've always had my side eye on Icewind Dale just because it's in particularly I've sort of recently kind of really gotten into doing horror stuff, and I've always kind of imagined an Icewind Dale meets The Thing kind of mashup, and so that's currently what I'm, thinking of in my head at the moment.
Yeah, because there's a new source books for
exactly
some of those Forgotten Realms settings in Icewind
with
Dale.
the new 2024 rules, which some of which keep tripping me up. It's kind of like you learn to ride a bike and then they've added like a third pedal, and it's a really useful pedal, don't get me wrong, but it is a third pedal. So you're a bit like, you'll just be in the flow of GMing, and then they'll say, oh, actually that's not how that works anymore, and I go, oh yep, you're absolutely right, and I have to kind of catch myself up. But no, it's good. So yeah, I'm thinking about that, and then kind of outside of that, I'm also just, again, I'm intrigued to see what my players bring to me and how I can twist that round and use it as a real, emotional dagger.
Absolutely.
I literally today got to reveal that the character that my players have been hunting for 2 days straight is one of the players' fathers. And they have been told that they have to kill this character, and all of a sudden they've told, they've realized that it's actually one of the players' fathers that they've been hunting this whole time.
Well, that's nice of you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty nice. In fact, actually, the sort of session ended and said player really came up to me and was like, "This is so awesome, dude." I was like, "Thanks, I'm glad you're enjoying it," because I really did swing quite hard at your character this particular session. So I'm glad that you're having fun. That's really important.
So you're at the castle now, and there are about 8 other dungeon masters, 8 other games going on at the same time. So nine ones happening this round.
Yeah.
If you were coming as a player, how would you look at choosing a game? That's one of the things we like to sort of. One of the motivations for holding these deep dives is just kind of get to know our dungeon masters and who seems like they would be a vibe with you, and what kind of game you're looking for. How would you kind of go about choosing a game for an experience like this where you're so invested?
That's so interesting, because I mean, just even to imagine for a second I'd get to turn up to an event like this and just play would be great. Be so much fun. I think that the thing for me is just finding a GM that matches your vibe, right? I think that I'd sort of hate the idea of someone jumping into my table and being like, all I want to do is combat, and I want to just dive into a dungeon, and that's it. And I'm like, and that is not to say that's not so much fun and epic, and I've done it and love it. It's just for me as a GM, I'm all about playing a spicy NPC and being like, let's really do a scene together, So I think that it would be so important for me to find a GM who really matched the vibe of the kind of game that I love playing, the thing that I really love and enjoy doing. And I'd probably want to, a GM that I can go, okay, I'm going to bring something, maybe a bit flawed and a bit whatever, but I can kind of, I know that they would enjoy kind of playing with those machinations and sort of working out the fun sides of flaws and character drawbacks and that kind of thing, because I've sort of come full circle. I had a period where I was like, I must min-max all of my characters, and now I'm back to no, I want to have a really crippling flaw, and then I want the GM to really punish me for it, because it's just, I think there's something really enjoyable in it, especially when you're playing. You get to kind of live in those moments of kind of uncertainty, because one of the beautiful things I think about the game is the fact that you get to do that in a safe space, right? You get to do that in a space where everyone around the table and the GM is supporting you and encouraging you to play and to explore. And I think that it can be so powerful on a personal level. It can be so powerful on a game level for the entire table. And I think that's a really special thing to have. It's all, it feels like a bit of a gift, to give other players and to give and for yourself, right? Is to sort of walk away feeling like you've really shared an experience, and you've really had these special moments. It's probably my favorite thing about the castle is just and it sounds weird to say that my favorite thing about the castle is the end, but what I mean is that it's that moment after you kind of you breathe out after an epic campaign. You look these players in the eye and you really go, wow, we've shared something here. And even now I think back to previous castles, and I don't know, I couldn't tell you what my players look like, but I can tell you exactly what the characters look like, and I can tell you exactly what the characters did and where they were. It's it's my memories is entirely based on the actual events that took place in my imaginative headspace. And I've really, I've formed some really long-lasting friendships and relationships out of D&D in a Castle. I literally started a production company with someone that I met at D&D in a Castle. So, it's, I think once you've been through that, right, it's sort of, you really get a sense if they're the kind of person that you
you can go through hell and back with.
yeah, exactly. Because we actually did go through hell and back, So yeah.
Yeah, and so you've been back to D&D in the Castle, as you said, about 6 times. What is it that keeps you coming back, and what do you think? Like, you can play D&D. D&D is awesome because you can play it anywhere, anytime, with anyone. And it has a magic, and it has those, especially in person. What do you think is magical about the castle? It makes the castle worth investing that vacation time and budget, and what would make someone want to
I think
do it
that
here?
what it is about the castle is that there's always it's always day 2. There's a
day 2 is a magic
there's
time,
always
isn't it?
there's always a
Totally
magic
is.
moment in day 2 where every player is like had a moment, right? And it's usually, I say, probably it's like right after the last player like has their, like, there's like a moment or a thing that they do, or and every round the table kind of leans forward, and it's just like, okay, how many hours can we keep playing for? And it's the same for the GMs, no matter how tired or whatever we may be, having run hours and hours of games by this point, it's always the same, where you just get this bug, right? It's just like, there is something kind of, again, going back to what I was saying before about looking someone else in the eye, having this moment of magic, the moment of, your hand trembling as you're like, if I don't make this save, right now, then said person is gonna die, or whatever it is. Like, we literally had a moment today where everyone's favorite NPC, who was this a rock kind of a fellow member of the said David Bowie, his band, he just has commoner stats. He has 11 hit points, but they'd given him 14 temporary hit points, and so he had to save, otherwise he was cooked. And then we had to roll damage, because there was still a chance, even if he did save, that it was going to do more damage than like his, and it was just amazing to have everyone quite literally jump out of their chairs and scream at the top of their lungs, like, yes, Banger is safe. And it was just such a ridiculous thing that happened, but we all, it all genuinely meant something, and was such a nice relief. And I think that being able to step into a game where you haven't just rushed from work, you haven't just you're not kind of conscious of, oh, but I'm looking after my kid, or I'm taking time out of my schedule, or I've got this thing or this thing. It is about carving out time for you to just say, I'm here to play, I'm here to enjoy this experience with other people. And I think it's really freeing, it's really, really liberating. And I just love the idea that for these 3-4 days you get to just go, and this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm meant to be, these are the people I'm meant to be with, we're just going to roll some dice and really, really enjoy the kind of magic of the castle, and carving out that time for yourself, because life is hectic and crazy and busy and stressful, and actually, like, stepping into a world which is also busy and crazy and stressful, but in a really, really enjoyable way, is incredibly powerful. And it feels like, and like I said before, it literally feels like you're giving yourself a gift. So
give yourself a chance to play.
Just play like you did when you were a kid.
You're allowed.
Right? Yeah,
you're allowed.
You
can. It's
you
okay.
Absolutely can. Yeah.
You're allowed.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with Jasper, William Cartwright, 3 Black Halflings. We're at D&D in the Castle right now. I do want to ask if there have been any questions, because I know usually I do this in front of a screen. I can see the questions as they come up, but we've just been ignoring everyone and having a great time. But I do have someone who can feed me the questions if there are some that people have asked that Jasper can answer.
There is one indeed. We've had a lively chat.
Hello, chat.
Some say hello from your
Hi.
Twitch channel
Hi.
as well.
Sorry. Oh, Mew Mew, hi.
Danielle
Hi.
DeVries.
Yeah,
Bobanine. They're all hanging out with us.
Love it.
And also we've got a past Castler, Shane Selmy, who's been jumping on YouTube, giving some really wonderful comments, such as anything Jeremy Cobb runs, he's beyond ridiculously good.
Yes.
Telling an incredible story.
Yeah, agreed.
But when it comes to questions, we have one that has come from another Castler, and that is Cole. And Cole has asked, to define it on the list here, so I can put that at the same time. What is something that you love to see players do at the table?
Oh, that's a really awesome question, Cole. So I think the one thing that I literally bang on to my players about constantly is I say, make big, bold choices. Because this is a world where there are no real world consequences.
Right.
We live day to day with rules, restrictions, laws, financial worries, this worry, you know what I mean? All these things. So to step into a world where there are really no there are emotional consequences, etc., but just to get to play in a space and go, hey, this is my character, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and just do something, just make a big bold choice. And I always say, I am a GM that will absolutely punish consequences. Like I will
Right.
absolutely, I will have consequences for you, and I will punish you if you make crazy, insane decisions. However, what I will do is, if your character happens to die in this moment, I will make it the most glorious death. You know, it's like it really, it genuinely feels like there is something so wonderful when you see a player go, "Oh no," and you go, "Oh yes!" Like do that thing, because there is like. How often do you get to do that in life, right? How often do you get to, I feel like it's like the sort of low stakes version of this is like, you're a kid and you're, looking over probably a really small jump, but it feels huge, right? And jumping into like a lake or something by your house or whatever. And it feels like, it's like that equivalent of just like getting to be like, like everything will be fine and it will be exhilarating and fun and whatever it may be.
And
so
then
I
you can
always,
go have ice cream.
and then you can go have ice cream, you can go have food, and you can talk about it. Like literally, one of my players in this particular campaign, there was this whole big backstory about how these black orchids have been gifted to people, and after they get gifted a black orchid, within 7 days they're either disappearing or dead. And so our players, after a very strange experience with in a fortune teller's tent, they emerge and they have a black orchid on them. And what should happen? The barbarian just swallows the orchid. I was like, what? Splendid. And it was just incredible that everyone's jaw hit the floor. And I think I don't know, but it may be a castle record. We had a PC death within like 2 hours and 50 odd minutes. Because I was like, well, this is not great. But it led to us getting loads of really awesome story and narrative, and they learned loads about the world, and they came back but slightly changed, and then they did die again, but that's a whole other story. So it was just like, it led to so much intrigue. And then also, I was actually talking to them this afternoon, and they were saying how everyone has now been coming up to her and been like, are you the flower girl? Are you the one that ate the flower? And it was just like, that all came because she just made a big, bold choice and went sort of to hell with the consequences. I think this is what my character would do. And I loved it. And I thought it was brilliant.
I love the commitment.
Yeah, exactly. Just, commit to the bit, whatever it is that you feel like your character would do, just take a big, bold swing. You can't do any worse than that. It's great.
Amazing. Any other questions? Because we're coming up on time, but I think we've had such a lovely chat and learned so many things. I just want to, one more.
That I can bring up here.
If it's from Mew Mew Beans, then Wolf, be careful. I'm joking.
Which was, where is it here? Yeah, partnering with Strahd. This is way back. And it's brilliant.
Yes. No, that was so I have to go straight after the stream and do some work because that was not on my original document of things that players could do. But again, I'm the kind of GM where I will not say no if the players want to make a big bold swing, and if their whole play is, okay, we're being manipulated by a strange demigod who happens to be rivals with Strahd. We've bumped into Strahd. We've done the research which tells us that Strahd and this guy really don't like each other. Maybe we can tempt Strahd into helping us. And so Strahd very willingly said, you are happy to accept my gifts? And they said, yes, we are. And Strahd said, brilliant, here's the contract. And so, yes, the players tomorrow will be receiving boons and gifts from Strahd in order to go and try and take down a demigod. good
We
luck
saw
to
that
them.
coming.
Is all I can say. We'll see what happens, and I guess after the TPK, the players will come and tell you all about it.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to hearing all about it.
One way or another, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you slay the demigod, and then you got to deal with Strahd.
Right.
So, well,
You made
it's not
contract
a
with a vampire.
perfect situation for anyone, I don't think.
Amazing. Well, it's been so fun talking with you, Jasper.
Thank you very much.
Jasper is back November 4th to 8th, 3rd. Getting notes. 3rd to 7th
Hey, look,
and 10th to 14th.
That was a bunch of numbers, and you.
But there are so many numbers.
So many
So many numbers. 4th to 8th and 10th. I'm saying it all wrong. 10th to 14th.
10th to 14th. Cool.
And so if you'd like to join Jasper's amazing game or come play with any of our dungeon masters at the Indiana Castle, we would love to see you there. You can go to theindianacastle.com and ask us any questions you have about the event and about picking your dungeon master and your campaign. I'm going to invite you, Jasper, to invite the people to come and play with your game. Take us out of the interview. Invite them to come and join you at the Indiana Castle this autumn and come and play in your campaign.
Yeah, well, yeah, please come and play with me at the castle. It's always the best and most wholesome and wonderful of times. And I feel like we create bonds at the table. We have a completely chaotic, ridiculous ride, but we always come out of it with some truly kind of amazing memories. And and not only that, I think that we get to tell a story together. And actually nowadays, it just feels like a very precious commodity to go, hey, you know what? All we're going to do right now is we're going to tell a really awesome and cool story. So yeah, come and tell stories with me. I would love to have you at my table. Thanks so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. And we will see you at the castle.
See you at the castle.